If a private equity firm came in and bought your SaaS business today, what are the first three things they would do to maximize their return? That's a question Victor Cheng answered at a recent event for the founders in our boardroom program. If you don't know who Victor Cheng is, he's the author of Extreme Revenue Growth, and he spent years working for companies like McKinsey and private equity firms, helping them execute this strategy, which has led to millions and millions in growth. If you're new here, I'm Johnny Page, the CEO at Saas Academy, where we help B2B SaaS founders grow and achieve their perfect exits. Now, before we get into this is only a strategy for established SaaS companies. While there are some exceptions, you need to be at least 3 to 5 million in ARR to have enough customers and data for this even to make sense. So if you're still refining your go-to-market strategy and you're figuring out your product, this video is probably not for you. All right, so let's take a 10,000 foot view of this strategy, and then we'll unpack some of the tactics to help you execute. The first is we need to find the asymmetrical returns in the business. And I'll explain more what that means in just a second. The second step is we are gonna double down on the areas that are working, and we're gonna cut and trim all the rest. And this probably sounds super simple, right? Most entrepreneurs would see this and say, duh, but when you're running a SaaS business, it's much harder than it looks to find the pockets of asymmetrical return in the business. So I'm gonna show you the 10 areas that Victor looks at first to find these opportunities and return millions to his clients. So before we do that, we have to understand what an asymmetrical return looks like. And to do that, we're gonna model out 3 different scenarios. So in all 3 scenarios, we're going to invest $10,000. And to start, we're gonna look at this in a traditional business model, so non-recurring, non-SaaS. In scenario 1, we're gonna invest $10,000 and our return is $5,000 for an ROI of negative 50%. Pretty bad deal. In scenario 2, we're gonna invest $10,000 and we're gonna get $10,000 back for an ROI of 0%. Again, not great. All the extra labor that goes into it, we're probably still losing money in scenario 2. In scenario 3, we're gonna invest $10,000 and get $25,000 back for an ROI of 150%. It's a great deal, right? Now, this isn't rocket science, but in a SaaS business, it can get a little bit tricky because our returns are spread out over a longer period of time, over the life cycle of the account, which is where we get the term lifetime value. So to translate this concept into a recurring revenue business model, we need 2 numbers. For the investment, this is actually our cost of acquisition or customer acquisition cost. For the return, this is our lifetime value. And then for ROI, this is our CAC to LTV ratio. Okay, so how many dollars do we have to spend to actually get the lifetime value? This is what every private equity firm and VC is gonna reduce a business down to, is how quickly can I put cash in and get cash out? Is this a productive revenue engine for us to purchase? So the process of creating extreme revenue growth in your SaaS product comes down to finding the pockets within your business where you're acquiring customers for really cheap and they end up being your most valuable account. So maximizing that CAC to LTV ratio. So now let's take a look at the top 10 high value areas to look to find your asymmetrical returns. All right, so the first area to look is in refining your ideal customer profile, or your ICP. Now, in every business, there is a delta, a difference between the lowest value customer and the highest value customer. And the first place to look for an asymmetrical return is what's contributing to that gap. What's the difference? Maybe it's their geography, their industry, their employee count. Maybe they're transitioning off a specific tool, or they have a specific role within the company that makes adoption and expansion much easier. Is there a symptom showing up in the business that makes a product even stickier? Whatever it is, success leaves clues. So you have to dig into what is it that makes your most valuable clients so valuable and figure out how they got into your world and deploy more of your acquisition resources to expand your work in that area. So the key question to answer here is there a segment in your customer base that is significantly more valuable than the others? All right, so opportunities number 2 and 3 to find your asymmetrical returns have to do with how you're acquiring your customers, specifically within marketing. So we're gonna look at lead source and at the point of conversion. So there's only 4 ways a customer can come into your world. It's through outbound, inbound, paid, or earned. And so we want to look at where do they originate, that's a lead source, and then where are they at the point of conversion, right? So at this point, you're probably running multiple acquisition strategies. So the key question to answer is there a channel or a lead source that is significantly outperforming all the others? All right, so number 4 is our marketing motion. And the key question to answer here is there a specific asset or experience that our customers having that is making them more likely to convert or stay longer? All right, so number 5 is your sales motion, right? Is there a way that we are selling to our clients that is making a significant difference on the LTV? Maybe you have product-led motion where you have users going into a free trial and onboarding themselves, and then maybe you've got a sales motion where they actually talk to a sales rep and get onboarded through customer success. Is there a difference in how long they stick around and their CAC to LTV ratio? All right, so continuing through the process, number 6 is your customer success motion, right? So is there an experience the customer has post-sale that is increasing your LTV? Perhaps it's we've segmented our onboarding from retention, right? And those that get to work with an onboarding specialist actually stick around longer. So we're looking for across my customer base, is there a difference in how they're experiencing our customer success, and is one better than another? All right, the 7th area to look is in your product usage. So on average, only 40% of the features in a SaaS platform are being used by a single customer. So the key question here is there a way my top clients are using the product that increases the CAC to LTV ratio? Number 8 is the products that they've actually purchased. Again, pretty straightforward here. Is there a specific product that increases the stickiness and the ROI of a certain customer? All right, so number 9 and 10 have to do with the actual personnel on your team. You want to ask yourselves, is there a salesperson that's having outsized impact? And the same thing for our customer success team. You'd be surprised at how frequently you find out that there's a high performer or a low performer that are really either contributing to high returns or eating away at them. So we want to be able to segment based on the individual team's performance. All right, so that's the playbook that these billion-dollar private equity firms are running when they buy a B2B SaaS business. In fact, most of the time they run this play before they ever pay a penny for the business. They do this entire process during the due diligence period. So the opportunity for you watching this video is to run this play yourself. But to do that, you're gonna need a really solid foundation of data collection and systems to run this analysis. Now, most of the founders that I talk to fall into one of 2 categories. You have most of this data, but it's a big project to pull it together, so you're only able to do this level of deep dive analysis 1 or 2 times a year, which is a great start. Or you don't have most of this data, and the data you do have, you don't really trust. And that is where a revenue operations team comes into place. The one hire that unlocks all these opportunities is a director of revenue operations. You need someone in your organization to own the entire data infrastructure and make sure that all the systems and the teams are set up to give you the answers to these questions. Now, a great RevOps hire is gonna cost you between 160 and 250K a year, which can sound like a lot, but based on the strategy I taught you today, can you afford not to hire this person? All right, guys, so there you have it. The playbook for extreme revenue growth. A huge shout out to Victor Chang. If you haven't picked up the book, Extreme Revenue Growth, go pick up a copy today, and then subscribe to this channel where I'll share more videos just like this.